My lords, it has come to our attention that the Curator Order has a significant stash of unique relics. We have been conducting an espionage operation and have identified approximately 15 previously unknown relics that I shall detail in this report. I should mention that the Curators have made these relics available to empires who display a talent for specimen acquisition and curation. But let's get into the relics, and we begin with the Modularium. The Modularium is a modular refinery system that autonomously produces valuable resources at exponential rates, but it requires a tremendously significant energy supply to do so. It remains unclear to us which civilization this relic originally came from, but it does indeed have some potent properties. It will increase our monthly production of exotic gases, rare crystals and volatile motes by a flat 1. However, its real power comes in the form of its active effect. For the cost of a flat 2,500 energy credits, you can double the passive output of the device, and this is repeatable every 10 years. Each activation doubles the cost, but also doubles the passive effect. An interesting one for sure. Next, we have the Flowmetal Alloy. This is a self-replicating material that, through an incomprehensible mechanism, fortifies the chemical bonds of any metal it comes into contact with. My engineering teams tell me that if we were to get our hands on this device and integrated the Flowmetal Alloy into our assembly processes, it would drastically enhance large-scale machine production. While the science behind the alloy eludes us, it appears somewhat similar to the rare resource known as living metal, but somehow different. The relic, if obtained, would boost our ability to produce spacecraft by 15% and reduce all robot upkeep by 30%. Further to this, its active effect will instantly build 3 robot pops on our capital world. It is a marvelous device indeed, and one I'd like to get our scientists studying as soon as possible. Now on to the Crystallinus Diffuser. This is a machine that's capable of converting synthesized crystals into an extremely potent performance-enhancing drug. The drug appears to work on all organic beings, irrespective of species or genus, and it is quite a remarkable feat of biological engineering. We have absolutely no idea how it works. Despite the performance-enhancing properties that the drug offers, it does appear to be, in its purest form at least, biologically volatile and can cause multiple organ system failure in a small percentage of its users. Passively, the relic will increase organic population output by 5% and increase opinion with organic empires by a flat 25 if owned by machines. Its active effect will increase organic pop output by a whopping 100%. It will, however, kill 20% of the organic population that take the drug. A dangerous device indeed. One would have to be in dire straits or have a complete disregard for their organic population to use the device. 1 death in 5 is certainly clinically significant. Next on the list is the ever-changing stone. This is an engineered gemstone that shifts in colour and hue, a little like a chameleon, but this gemstone also changes its chemical composition based on its surroundings. Remarkable indeed. When placed next to any object, it mimics elements of its material and allows us to better understand the subject's molecular composition. The device has several interesting properties. It will increase the output of our xenogeology specimens by 30%, and it will decrease the number of minerals required for the production of consumer goods and alloys. Its active effect will further increase the bonuses that specimens provide. This time, however, boosting aesthetic wonder and galactic history output by 3% per xenogeology specimen. This relic is rather good for those who like to maximize their Grand Archive potential output. The Pulsestone is next. This is a highly radioactive stone which creates dangerous waves of magnetic forces. My science team tells me that it has the potential to revolutionize our understanding of field manipulation, but the energy it emits is almost impossible to contain. This is certainly one of the more bizarre and potentially dangerous relics that we found. It's a fancy stone that the adventurous among us may even call an infinity stone. It is a powerful relic indeed. This relic has a profound effect on physics research, increasing any research on field manipulation technologies by 15%, and it makes it 50% more likely that these research options will appear. Its active effect provides remarkable combat boosts, including a plus 25% to combat disengagement chance for 10 years, 25% shield hardening for 10 years, and 25% increased energy weapon damage for 10 years. While these effects are potent indeed, it does come with the negative side effect of emitting tremendously dangerous radiation. While this radiation won't outright kill anybody, it does appear to have significant effects on the population's happiness, reducing it empire-wide by 10% for 10 years. I would use this relic sparingly. Now we move on to the Gavel of the Tribunal, which at first glance I thought was a massive gravity hammer. Alas, it is not a big hammer, merely an empire's long-forgotten gavel. Inscribed on the handle of the gavel are the names of the ancient triumvirate of minds which governed a now-dead galaxy. Though the gavel is far too large for any of our kind to wield, its mere presence invokes no small amount of awe. Perhaps, given its size, we could use it as a big hammer after all. I wonder how I would look, waltzing through the Galactic Senate with this on my shoulder. The Blorg would balk at the mere sight of us. In any case, this relic will increase our standing in the Galcom, increasing our diplomatic weight by 5% per delegate skill level. It also has the active property of reducing claim influence costs by 25% for 10 years. Next, we have the Entangled Relay. This ancient object is able to connect distant information transmission networks via quantum entanglement, allowing for seamless galactic communication. This is another device that we don't fully understand, only that we understand it works, and quite wonderfully, I must say. This relic will increase the size of sectors by +2. This means that systems an extra 2 hyperlane jumps from the sector capital will be included within the overall sector. This is slightly niche, but it means that our governors will have a larger impact than they previously had. The relic will also passively decrease the additional distance modifier for starbase influence cost by 50%. Its active, however, is potentially where the relic shines. It will increase resources from orbitable stations by 40% for 10 years. My understanding is that this will work on your arc furnaces, giving this relic the potential to generate massive power spikes for your economy. Next on the list is the prototype VIR Core. Now this is something I did not expect to see, and most interestingly, it's green. As the knowledgeable ones among you will be aware, there are 2 known virtual intelligence robots, VIR and RIV. VIR is most helpful, if not a slightly irritating chap who helps younger new empires learn how to function on the galactic stage. RIV, however, is a somewhat evil robot, and we found him inside of an astral rift. VIR was blue, RIV was red, and the prototype is green, which I find most intriguing. The prototype core is described as an isolated artificial intelligence that is particularly effective at being a teacher and mentor. It is able to assist in almost every situation. It excels at describing complicated explanations in simple terms, laying out information clearly to allow the user to make well-informed decisions. It is interesting indeed, and I do wonder if that means there is an empire out there making different prototype VIRs. For whoever made this, they know about the hunters, and are clearly powerful indeed. This relic brings powerful bonuses to your empire, including a +1 leader capacity passively, and its active effect adds a +4 to effective counselor skill for 10 years. Quite lovely indeed. Now we move on to the Propagandosphere. This is a holographic sphere that contains an archive of propaganda films from a bygone civilization. These films are incredibly inventive and enthralling to watch, and elements of our government believe that these films should be remade in our image to inspire our troops and people. This device will increase the unity from our soldiers by +2 and increase governing ethics attraction by 25%. Its active will generate a significant amount of unity. We have 5 relics left to explore, and next up is the Preservation Chamber. The Preservation Chamber is an advanced machine that can compress space-time in a manner that can be restored at a later time. Its makers used it to imprison beings far too powerful to be subdued. While it can no longer accept inputs, it has many secrets left to share. I do wonder what interdimensional creatures may be trapped inside the device, and I'm intrigued by the possibility of opening it one day. However, it does remind me somewhat of the Broken Gate event. Pulling that lever resulted in the dimensional horror cracking a world. That was quite the day. And there was also the incidents with the worm. Blessed be the worm. We love the worm. But I forget myself. Back to the preservation chamber. This relic passively increases your resource capacity by 25,000 and your vivarium capacity by 25. The relic's active effect generates 2 exceptional mature creatures for the vivarium. I guess these were captured inside of the device once upon a time. Next we have the Executus Compendium. This is a rather marvellous book of records. These extensive records of an ancient civilization's council were preserved in a sealed capsule. Within its trillions of pages are detailed the accounts of bureaucratic optimizations and innovative organizational tools. Many of these improvements could be implemented in our own government processes. Byzantine bureaucrats, eat your heart out. Now on to the Vaporous Mega-Orchid. This particularly massive orchid blooms only once every 50 years. Its aroma has been shown to have a mollifying effect, temporarily blocking the mental synapses that cause aggression and distrust. Amusingly, this relic appears to be a drug that we can use to seduce other members of the galactic community, greatly increasing trust. Passively, the relic will increase the trust gap with organic empires by 50 and increase the monthly loyalty from all subjects by 1. Using the active will provide an increase in opinion from all non-genocidal and non-fallen empires by 150 for 10 years, which we assume to mean that this drug somehow works on machines and hive minds. Most bizarre. The penultimate relic to discuss is the Celestial Resonator, and it is an odd relic indeed. The Celestial Resonator is a strange device that generates massive awe-inspiring light shows and increases in potency when put in the proximity of specimens. It provides passively a flat unity bonus of +10 per specimen exhibited in the Grand Archive, and its active effect provides happiness and diplomatic weight per specimen. It is a most curious thing indeed. Which brings us on to the last new relic, the Tyianki Matriarch Nerve Core, which incidentally raises the point that more than one Tyianki Matriarch must have existed. Perhaps it is a stage that they will all reach should they survive long enough. The brain matter of this ancient space whale contains centuries of evolutionary data encoded within its neurons. By decoding its neural network, we were able to find vulnerabilities in other super predators, as well as unlock the secrets of their survival. The nerve core will passively increase the damage that we are able to inflict on Guardians by 25%. And to be clear, Guardians are other spaceborne leviathans that exist throughout the galaxy. These include creatures such as the Elder Drake, Dimensional Horrors, and others. Its active effect, however, is quite something. It increases space fauna hull and armor by 20% for 10 years, but it also increases space fauna growth rate by 25% for 10 years. Any empires who focus on space fauna organic fleets really should try and acquire this relic from the Curators as soon as possible. And that, my lords, covers all of the new relics added with Grand Archive. I should note that you can also get the Celestial chart from the Treasure Hunter origin, but that didn't seem fitting to include in this report. Do you have a favourite relic? Please let me know in the comments if you do, and if you want to hear more from me, please click the video on screen now.